Alright, today we're learning the amateur player's secret weapon, the rush serve. Personally, I find this serve to be very high impact. Especially when you surprise the forehand, your opponent often won't react in time. I often use a 2-point setup, a short serve to the backhand corner, followed by a rush serve to the forehand to move my opponent around. Even against a professional, a good rush serve is usually an ace on the first try. They might only just reach the second one. If you want to open up the game, the rush serve is typically used at the start of a match. For example, at 0-0, I might use a rush serve while my opponent's focus isn't fully sharpened yet. The second scenario is during a critical point like 9-9, when it becomes a test of your mental game. I'll use a rush serve then as well. Finally, I might use a rush serve after a short backhand serve to disrupt their rhythm. Those are the three main situations. This serve is extremely effective for amateurs because most players can't read a fast serve to the middle or forehand. So don't just see it as a spin serve, its greatest strength is its element of surprise. First, let's break down the method. For the shakehand grip, you must first raise your thumb. The feeling of power from your thumb and index finger is different if your thumb is flat versus upright. So, press your thumb slightly up and forward to create the right angle. Keep your index finger straight, not curled. Your middle and ring fingers should support the back of the racket, as this is crucial for generating power. However, don't use all three fingers, as this restricts the wrist's flexibility. So, the middle and ring fingers support the blade for friction, while the pinky is slightly curled. Your thumb and index finger must be aligned to create a pinching force from both front and back. If your thumb and index finger are misaligned, it will negatively impact your power generation. You won't be able to properly pinch the racket to apply force. Most serves get their power from the thumb and index finger. For a left side spin serve, they account for about 80% of the finger action. Only with this grip can you secure the racket and generate balanced acceleration. This isn't a strict rule, but simply my personal experience with the grip. Most players have their own habits, but trying my grip might make your motion smoother. Second point, why can your opponent easily distinguish your long and short serves? Because for a long serve, you always have a big backswing and a high toss, while for a short serve, you have no backswing and a low toss. What if I could keep the toss height and backswing identical for every serve? For instance, if I want to serve side spin, topspin, toss, serve. Now, a short serve, same toss, short serve. Now, the rush serve, same toss, rush serve. If your toss and backswing show no difference, you give the opponent less time to read the serve. Therefore, your serve must be deceptive. The contact point should also be consistent. We've taught the basics. For short serves, contact the ball slightly higher. For long serves, contact it slightly lower. That is fundamental instruction. But once you're in a match, your motion cannot vary in height or size. Otherwise, your opponent will easily predict a long serve and neutralize it. So, keep these three things identical: toss height, backswing size, and contact point. If you do this, your opponent will struggle to read the serve. Let me demonstrate. Essentially, the only variation happens at the moment of impact. The rest of the motion is identical, and that's what makes it a threat. A key characteristic of the rush serve is its forward motion, which is what makes it the fastest serve. Why is your side spin serve slower? Because your racket path is always moving from high to low. The range of motion is too large. The rush serve, however, has a very compact motion, moving only from your hip to your waist and then stopping. It has a small range of motion. So, let's apply this principle. Why do your hook serves and side spin serves often go too high? It's because you need to shorten the range of motion at contact. I can move downward, but if I use a forward angle, the ball will be fast. I can move upward with a forward angle, and it will also be fast. So for the rush serve, the entire force is directed from back to front. Just like a forehand drive, open up, and drive forward. This is how you generate speed. Second, the ball comes off the racket extremely quickly. Listen to how fast that contact is. Many amateur players try to brush upwards on this serve. Don't you think that's counterproductive? A direct impact produces the most speed. I'm just making sure the first bounce of that impact lands on the table. There's no need for an upward brushing motion with the forearm or wrist. It only slows down your serve and offers no advantage. Our forearm motion is a simple backswing and forward follow-through. Let me emphasize, you must learn the rush serve. It can be combined with any other serve. Against any player with slow footwork or poor anticipation, a rush serve to their forehand is almost always a point. For players who stand indecisively in the middle, jam them with a serve to their body. Then follow with a short forehand and a long backhand serve. It will make them very uncomfortable. Some players think one good hook serve is enough, but if you keep using it, your opponent will adapt. That's why our serves must be varied and versatile. Fourth key point, are you using friction when you do a rush serve? A rush serve without friction is just asking for the ball to go long. If you rely only on flat impact, the ball will only land on the table when your mind and body are completely relaxed. Normally, a flat hit is the most error-prone contact. That's why professional players have a habit: we add friction to everything. Because we know pure impact leads to mistakes. So, when we execute a rush serve, we must generate friction. You might be asking, you just said the motion is back to front, so how do you add friction? Here's how. Watch my wrist closely, there is friction involved. Let me slow down the motion for you. The racket brushes forward around the ball. I'm just doing it very quickly. It's not a stiff, flat hit. That will definitely go out. Why do we get tense and stiff during a match? Because of nerves. When you're nervous, your hands and feet stiffen up. So you must add friction. How do you do it? You need to keep your racket angle closed and brush forward, not upward. A rush serve without friction at 9-9 will fly off the table, unless you reduce its speed and quality. But that defeats the purpose of the rush serve, whose threat lies in its surprise and speed. Therefore, we must use friction when serving. Keep the racket closed and brush forward. Brush it like this. Keep the motion small and the contact quick. Don't use a large swing that reduces speed. The motion should be compact and focused. The main goal is to make the ball kick on the opponent's side, so they can't just block it back easily. With a kicking serve like this, if your opponent tries any kind of loop, they will be jammed for sure. This is not a light touch, it's true, explosive friction. Relying on touch shots only leads to errors and gives your opponent easy kills. In my opinion, playing with just touch is a sign of weakness. You have to be bold with your strokes. If the ball goes long, reduce your power slightly. A small adjustment will get it on the table. Don't try to solve the problem by just softly pushing the ball. Let me demonstrate how amateur players typically serve a rush serve. Am I right? Do your rush serves often go long like this? Let me explain why it goes out. It's because your racket angle is open, like a push. With an open angle, the trajectory will naturally be long. You can only generate forward friction by closing the racket angle. An open face can't create upward or forward friction, it can only create backspin, like a push. To generate speed, you must think of it as a topspin motion, which means keeping your racket angle closed. If I do this, the ball stays on the table. With a closed angle, I can properly brush the ball. See? The angle must be closed. You have to contact the upper middle part of the ball. Only then can you dare to accelerate. If your racket face is open like this, the ball will always go long. It's all about your racket angle. You are contacting the lower middle part of the ball while trying to accelerate, so of course the trajectory will be too long. So, for the rush serve, remember, as you start your backswing and prepare for contact, your racket angle must be closed, like for a topspin loop. Prepare, close the angle, and the ball will land. Fifth key point. The rush serve is a surprise attack. Any move that involves surprise cannot be obvious or have a large motion. To ensure the ball lands, try this: stop your motion as soon as your forearm touches your waist. Backswing, and stop at the waist. Backswing, stop at the waist. For this rush serve, the backswing starts at my right hip and the follow-through stops at my navel. Watch carefully, stop the motion here. Don't let your arm swing all the way across your body. If you push it just a little bit further, the ball goes out. So, don't have a wild, exaggerated backswing. If you open up too much after the toss, your opponent will immediately know a rush serve is coming. During the backswing, maintain your normal stance. Only close the racket angle as the ball is dropping. This is the secret. This is the key to deceiving your opponent. So, we need to make our range of motion precise and compact. Focus on these 4 points. First, do not use a high toss. A high toss makes it easy to hit down on the ball. Keep the toss just above the legal minimum height. That's point 1. Second, with a low toss, your initial backswing should look like you're about to serve side spin. Keep the backswing small, just outside your hip. As the ball drops, that's when you close the racket angle and brush it. Don't close your racket angle as soon as you toss the ball. That gives away that you're serving a rush serve. So, as the ball goes up, maintain a racket angle for a left side spin or backspin serve. Don't open up too wide. A backswing next to your right hip is enough. Then, as the ball descends, quickly flip your racket angle over. Meet the ball with a closed racket face. And once your arm touches your waist, stop the racket's movement at your navel. Let me demonstrate. See how my arm is tucked against my waist? Don't serve with your arm extended. It's very easy for the ball to fly out. The slightest change in thought will make it go long. Don't serve like that. Keep your elbow, upper arm, and forearm close to your waist. And stop your motion at your navel. Do not let your swing go past the side of your body, or it will go out. You cannot extend this part of the swing. You must stop it abruptly. Stop it here, and the ball will kick properly. Generally, don't overuse this serve in a game. 1 or 2 well-executed ones will win you direct points. But use it too often, and it loses its effectiveness as the opponent adapts. You can mix it in with your short serves. After mastering those 4 points, there's one last crucial detail. Your forearm must not extend outwards. A hook serve requires outward extension, but a rush serve requires you to swing close to your body. Now, let me ask you, is this serve illegal? This is perfectly legal in a match. My free arm is out of the way. And my toss is high enough. My racket hand is also exposed. This isn't hiding the serve. This is what an illegal hidden serve looks like. This motion is not a hidden serve. Second, I am contacting the ball behind the end line. The moment of contact is outside the table, and the ball then travels into the court. This is completely legal. Now think about it, if you only show your racket during the serve, how effective is that? From your opponent's perspective, they can only see my racket. Do you think they can read the direction in that split second? Definitely not. But what if you show your whole arm? This is what your opponent sees. But if you only show your racket? In that situation, what can they possibly read? Every time I serve this to the forehand, if I set it up with a soft serve first and then unleash this one quickly, even professional players are left watching. So, as I said, your serve must be close to your body, with a compact motion, showing only the racket. When you're serving straight down the line, do not rotate your waist. The moment you rotate your waist, your opponent can read you. Look at a left side spin serve. It should look as if my motion isn't even complete. For the rush serve, absolutely no waist rotation. Just stand still and snap it. What I want is the element of surprise, because I'm serving to the forehand. How much can I rotate anyway? Everyone's forehand attack is strong, they can return it just by lifting their arm. I give you no physical cues. But if you rotate your waist, they will know 100% that it's going to the forehand. This includes your short forehand serve. To make it easier for yourself, you might shift your position and turn your body, which makes it instantly readable. Whenever I serve short to the forehand, I only lower my center of gravity, with no other body movement. In this situation, if the opponent is even slightly late to the ball, it's an opportunity for a professional player. Your serve isn't winning points not just because it lacks spin, but because it lacks strategy. It's too obvious. Even a spinny serve is easy to return if it's predictable, like in doubles. A very spinny double serve is still easier to return than a deceptive single serve. Some players fail with the rush serve because they serve it to the opponent's forehand when they are already standing in the middle of the table. If they stand in the middle, rush serve to their backhand. You can't give them the forehand anymore. For a player in the middle, attack them with short serves to the wide corners. You can't go wrong with that tactic. If a player is standing wide, why would you serve wide? Hit them with 2 consecutive rush serves down the line. Let's see how they stand after that. They won't be able to hold that position. If they stand far back, serve 2 short balls. If they stand close, push 2 serves deep to the baseline. From the very first point, it's a mental battle. It's like I teach my 7-year-old student. When you step up to serve, your mind shouldn't be blank. You must observe your opponent. Observe if they're close or far, standing tall or crouching low. If they stand tall, serve backspin. If they crouch low, serve topspin. If they stand wide, serve to their forehand. If they're in the middle, serve short to the corners. Break their mentality first. Most players battle themselves. When they miss a shot, they get stuck in self-doubt, and that's when they're close to losing. If you serve into their comfort zone, they will gain confidence with every shot. But if you make them uncomfortable from the start, you don't even have to beat them. They'll get angry, start forcing shots, and beat themselves. Serving requires strategy. Spin is one aspect, and it comes from practice and skill. But strategy is just as important. I was never a physically gifted athlete, but I consider myself a smart player. My ability may be limited, but I play with intelligence and tactics. I'm not a brute force player, and I hope my students adopt the same approach. Since many of you are older adults, I don't want you to get injured playing table tennis. Things like tennis elbow, shoulder pain, back pain, knee fluid, meniscus tears, or a ruptured Achilles tendon. I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to play with cleverness, rhythm, and variation, like the seasoned players in the park. This is the state I want my students to achieve.